Albany should fund this.
I can add to that too. It's not counted in our number that we have the savings week.
Yeah, right.
Hi, Madam Speaker. How are you? I'm wondering what your take is on the mayor's decision to create an office of community safety as opposed to a department of community safety.
Oh, sure.
I don't know if you've already addressed this, but I just wanted to
Yeah.
know, to the extent that it's been reported that he may not have tried to create the agency because he didn't maybe think that he could get approval of the council, is that accurate? Might he not have gotten it past you?
I don't think that's an accurate portrayal. Again, we have a council member who introduced the bill. The bill was just in the beginning of the legislative process, and so like any legislation, we generally, that winds its way through the legislative process, we usually don't comment on views on it. But no, I don't think that that's accurate. I think that the mayor always had, and they told us from the beginning in January that they were always looking at a number of different paths for this. Doing it through executive order was a path that they had indicated to us that they were considering way back in January.
And do you think that the office that he has proposed with the sort of more limited scope is worth the cost that it is?
We haven't been briefed on it, so I know Councilmember Leonine, she's a former chair of the Mental Health Committee. We look forward to a briefing. We have not been briefed on it, so it's very hard to comment on the cost without the briefing.
Hi, Speaker. How are you?
Hello.
I have one budget question and then an off-topic too.
Oh, sure.
I'm wondering if, considering in this response, it seems that a lot of the money the city needs is actually in the city's pockets, is your stance. So do you disagree with the mayor that we're in a fiscal crisis right now if we already have those funds on hand, essentially?
Look, I think obviously we never want to be in a situation where there's a shortfall. We also never want to be in a situation where the rating agencies are doing a negative outlook. That is potentially catastrophic for our city. Our finance team did a whole analysis on the increased borrowing costs that would mean to the city of New York, because it's very, very problematic. I have run several city agencies as commissioner, so I'm very used to having to deal with some of these budgetary issues. We are obviously in a different situation this year than we've been in past years, but overall the metrics for the city's economy in terms of Wall Street revenues are robust and strong. The thing, honestly, that concerns me as I look at the economic forecast is the fact that only 27,000 jobs were created in the city last year. And if you compare that to the on average 190,000 jobs that were created on average each of the prior 4 years, that is a very concerning metrics, which is why, my opinion, like we really do need to focus on job creation, economic development. That is really important for the future of the city. We need to attract new businesses to our city. We need to keep businesses here so that we're keeping that job creation robust, because that is obviously what is going to be needed to fund all of our important priorities around affordable housing and childcare and parks and all of the things that are mission critical.
My second question, I know you were asked about Councilmember Lewis, but more generally speaking, if a sitting council member was indicted or criminally charged, would you remove them from their committee assignments? Where's that red line for you?
Sure. I mean, that is a hypothetical. Obviously, if there's an indictment, we will then cross that road and take the appropriate action. That would be very serious, and we would clearly take appropriate action if that were to occur.
You were just discussing the census outside and citizenship implications. But you didn't address, I know it wasn't quite on topic, the SCOTUS hearing that's happening today on birthright citizenship. What is your concern if SCOTUS strikes down birthright?
Sure. So it's a very good question. I mean, so earlier today we held our press conference for Census Day, and I, as a former census director, I have very strong opinions on this. The census is a snapshot in time. The best way to describe the census is as if someone took a photograph of New York and every single person who was in New York City at the time. So the court case that you mentioned that's being discussed today is of grave consequence to the city of New York. We are a proud city of immigrants. And my concern around the census and around attempts that Republicans are doing to try to take the citizenship question off the census, and that's a case that we won. I served in a senior role at the law department and worked on that case. I'm very concerned about this because it will have disastrous implications for the future of the city of New York. Over 300 vital programs depend on how we do on the census. Everything from SNAP to Head Start to funding for public safety, funding for our roads, bridges, tunnels, transportation, infrastructure, funding for all of our schools. It all depends on how we do on the census. So any kind of attempts to say that those are undocumented shouldn't be counted is just disastrous for the financial implications for our city. Because the census, again, is supposed to be a snapshot in time of every single person that is utilizing New York City services, that is using our schools, that are using our roads, that are using social service programs. So any attempt to try to discount those that are undocumented would have a real dire consequence on our city.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you all so much. Thank you very much. Thank you.